Okay, I don't know what happened there. I don't know what happened there. That was weird. Uh, it's been doing that a little bit lately, actually, where it says there's something corrupt or something happened to your storage device. That is all new. This is a brand new storage device. It is external storage device, and it is having problems. Or the console is causing it problems, because the console is the one thing I got from somebody else. Um, yeah. I don't know what to say there. This is so stupid. So I was saying how my grandma, like, I loved Sega, I grew up with Nintendo, I grew up with PlayStation, then I got more into Xbox, I watched horror movies that I shouldn't have. I love Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Aliens, one of my favorite horror movies, as well as The Thing, and the Evil Dead movies. The earlier Evil Dead, I like it when they're funnier than they are trying to be scary. We're gonna use... Oh, this game sounds loud, what the hell? There, that should fix a few things. I'm gonna have to use Bloodborne because Bloodborne is not on the external storage. Let me adjust my headset. Um, so hopefully we won't have many problems. Man, my lips feel really dry right now. I need some, a balm or something. I don't know. But, yeah, I wanted to talk. So here's a couple of things that you would not expect of me to like. I like black and white movies and shows. We grew up really loving the Three Stooges and stuff like Abbott and Costello. I actually got the Meet Frankenstein with Abbott and Costello movie there. Of course, I love Monty Python. I'm a big fan of rock and roll and heavy metal, some pop rock, but I do try to expand my horizons from time to time with other music. There's movie soundtracks I love listening to. There's movies that I love. I love a lot of fantasy movies, Neverending Story. I love Willow. I love The Labyrinth, Dark Crystal. I just watched Dark Crystal recently and listened to the Labyrinth music recently. Um, and I oh there's some black and white movies I got into watching. I'll watch from time to time. I used to cherish my Universal Monsters VCR cassettes of like Dracula and Frankenstein and all that. I think I'm supposed to be going through here. I think I have um frickin' asshole. What's his name, asshole? There. Probably gonna run past most of the enemies to get there. But, it was weird. I didn't really hear him even though I have the audio down. It shouldn't mute him though. But, yeah, like, I watched a lot of black and white movies. I'm probably gonna watch some more. I watched Citizen Kane recently because I've never seen it before. And I always heard it was, like, one of the best movies. I think it's really good. Like, there's great cinematography and things that utilize cinematography to tell a story. Like, the one thing I always hear about is the table scene where, like, it's showing them grow separately apart as it goes. That was pretty cool. Um, and let's see. I'm just adjusting my. I have a fan next to me. I don't have it on though. I will probably turn it on after this video because it's kind of hot out. But not too bad out. I love Harryhausen, Ray Harryhausen. Like, you wouldn't guess I was a Ray Harryhausen fan. Clash of the Titans is probably one of my favorite Ray Harryhausen movies. When it, what was it, 10,000 Fathoms or something? I can't remember the name of it. It was very influential in Godzilla, which I love Godzilla. Godzilla is one of my favorite series. I think my favorite monster, like, the enemy to Godzilla is Gigan. I love Gigan. I don't know what my favorite movie is. I always have a hard time trying to pick what my favorite Godzilla movie is. I've been watching a lot of Ultraman lately because my friend's a big fan of Ultraman, and now I'm a fan of Ultraman. I used to like anime. I got out of anime, and now I'm back into anime. I've been watching a lot of anime recently, trying to catch up. I started One Piece, which is going to take for fricking ever, and Naruto, which is going to take fricking ever. I'm going to rewatch the Dragon Ball series. I think I was halfway through Dragon Ball, which is going to take forever also. And I'm going to move into Dragon Ball Z soon. Then there's stuff like Yu Yu Hakusho. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I watched at least the first season of both Demon Slayer and Attack on Titan. And, same can be said with Yu Yu Hakusho. I've watched multiple seasons of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I think I watched 3 or 4 seasons. I can't remember. I watched some Soul Eater with a friend of mine. I used to watch Inuyasha. I might rewatch it recently. Same with Full Metal. Full Metal is one of my favorite series. Full Metal Alchemist and Brotherhood. One of my favorite animes. Both of them, honestly. I came to love Beastars. I wasn't sure how to feel about it at first, but I love the character development and the story. And then there's actually, I'm trying to get my friend to watch a lot of older movies. See if they like this. Come on. Dumbasses. I only have 2 heals? You serious? Sure. Yeah, Ray Harryhausen's one a lot of my friends wouldn't expect of me. That was in the animation. I almost thought I couldn't get it off in time, but I got it. Let's take out these 2 guys. Frick you. No, give me a health thingy. Oh, god damn it. I do not have enough health for this boss. This sucks. Kind of forgetting how to play, too. But, yeah, people wouldn't expect me to like Ray Harryhausen. I love a lot. I've actually watched his Sinbad movies recently, as well as Jason the Argonauts. They were on Tubi. If you want to check them out, they're there. Clash of the Titans. I don't know where that is. It might be on Max, which is what HBO is being referred to now. Netflix, by the way, I'm pissed off at because of their whole setup. I used to share an account with my friend. Well, I guess I'm gonna just buy Beastars next month, the DVD set. And maybe I'll pay for Netflix. I'll decide if I want to, but I'm pissed off at Netflix currently. Just because of their new, well, I'm just gonna say they're gonna lose a lot of money over the thing they just did recently. But, yeah, people wouldn't expect me to like Ray Harryhausen films or black and white movies and stuff. Because a lot of people, if you meet me in real life, you probably think of me as, like, being a lot younger than you think, but a lot of the stuff I got into was because I lived with my grandmother for quite a while, and she of course loved a lot of older stuff. We had a bunch of older game consoles, Sega Genesis, Atari even. And I have most of those consoles. I don't have my Atari or Dreamcast anymore. I'm sad about that. I'll have to find out if I can get a new one. I have a friend who has a Dreamcast, but yeah, I don't have one sadly anymore. And I used to play Marvel vs. Capcom, and I love Power Stone, especially Power Stone 2. Love those games. I love Sonic Adventure. I grew up on Sonic Adventure, where my grandmother was a fan of the classic Sonics. I love the classic Sonics as well. Me and my grandmother used to have these debates, fights between each other. They were silly little fights about like who's better. I remember I was a big Goosebumps fan. I loved reading the Goosebumps books by R.L. Stine, and we used to fight like, oh, who's scarier, R.L. Stine's Goosebumps or Stephen King. Stephen King is obviously the winner, but I did it anyways because uh, I just liked messing with her. Um, and I agree, Steve. There's actually one Stephen King movie. It's a terrible movie, and it doesn't scare me now, but it kind of traumatized me back in the day. It's an awful movie, though. Even then, it was an awful movie. But there's one movie that kind of scared me. So I hate mannequins and dolls and stuff. Any, like, inanimate object that looks humanoid, I have, like, fears of. My fears aren't quite as strong as they used to be of those things, but there's one movie, I think it's called Red Rose, that has a statue that comes to life and comes after this dude having a heart attack. And I remember that kind of traumatized me back in the day. I watched that when I was too young. I watched a lot of horror movies I shouldn't have. I watched Evil Dead. I watched. I will never watch Exorcist though, or Rosemary's Baby. I will never watch those. Those things I don't think I could deal with. I feel like I would be. I would feel like I'm committing a crime, the equivalent of, if I watched those. I feel like my feelings would make me feel like I was committing a crime because I'm so sensitive to ghost stuff or demon stuff, unless the demon stuff is silly and playful, kind of like Evil Dead, or at least earlier Evil Dead. I tried watching both the newer Evil Deads. I had a big problem trying to watch them. Yeah, I saw Evil Dead, is it Rise? I saw that in theaters. I had a problem trying to watch that in theaters. I made it through, but god damn, I had a problem. And I tried, I couldn't even finish the remake of Evil Dead. I couldn't even finish that. I just have problems with that stuff. Like, that stuff affects me, in a very negative way, and I don't ever want to touch that stuff. Same with Ouija boards. If anything has a Ouija board in it, I'm not touching that. Like, I tried playing Until Dawn. As soon as the Ouija board part came up, I was like, nope, I'm out. I don't want anything to do with that. I just straight up closed the game. I didn't even save it or anything. And I would watch Pro Jared play it at the time, after the Ouija board part. I just can't even look at a Ouija board. Yeah, that stuff affects me. Maybe I should have put stuff that I don't like, too, in the video title. But, yeah, like, I can't do that stuff at all. That stuff affects me in such a negative way, and, like, yeah, no. I'd feel icky. I'd feel like I did something gross if I ever got involved with those. And yeah, like, a lot of people don't expect me to like black and white movies or TV shows, Three Stooges and stuff. I love Monty Python. That's not black and white, but I love Monty Python, Mr. Bean. I love all sorts of British humor. Freaking awesome. I can't stop laughing. I think Holy Grail is one of my favorite comedies. I can't remember if I put that on my top 10 movies, but I should have if I did not. I love Life of Brian as well. I think I like Holy Grail better just because, like, the fact that people can quote that entire movie, and it's more representative of the TV show, the Monty Python show. It feels like it's more like the Monty Python show. Like, if you, like, say, if you wanted somebody to get into my Monty Python or understand what Monty Python's all about, I think Holy Grail best represents them. But I do really like Life of Brian. The thing is, Life of Brian feels like one long, stretched out skit of theirs with some stuff in between. Where Holy Grail, while it does also feel like that, it does feel like it skips around to different scenes, sequences, and ridiculous, nonsensical humor here and there, kind of like the actual show, where it'll skip around, or it'll break the fourth wall or something. I love the one joke with the artist. Suddenly, the artist had a heart attack. Flies back in his frickin' chair. I frickin' love that. But yeah, it's like such a fun. Yeah, that's the other thing. It utilizes the art of Terry Gilliam quite a bit in that one. I think more than The Life of Brian. The Life of Brian does utilize it too. I think what was that? What's that other movie of theirs? The Meaning of Life. Like that one's not as strong because it gets pretty gross in a lot of scenes. Like people hate the fat, bloated dude that explodes. Like scenes like that has always been gross to people. But I do like that movie too. I will say that it's the one I watch the least out of their movies, but I do still like it. There's some other movies with the actors I love, as well as shows. Like I love Faulty Towers. Absolutely love that show. You can actually watch that, I think, free on YouTube in places, if you can find it. I'm a big Scooby-Doo fan. People wouldn't expect that from me, probably. I love Scooby-Doo. Hated the new Velma show. Frickin' disgrace. Scooby-Doo is a frickin' awesome series. I loved a lot of Cartoon Network, and Powerpuff Girls and Samurai Jack were my two biggest favorite Cartoon Network shows. And like over the years of watching stuff, I watched a lot of TMNT and Transformers shows from Armada, Energon, Cybertron. I used to love mimicking the different voices of characters. I love G1 Transformers too. I love it. I What was that? What the hell happened there? Let me check my audio real quick. Hold on. Is my... Okay, my audio's working. That was weird. I don't know what happened there. Like, the audio... My head... I don't know what that was, honestly. Whether it was my headset or controller. My controller wasn't showing as disconnected. But, it wouldn't let me control my character anymore, and my headset just completely disconnected, and you probably couldn't hear me. Trying to remember where I was. Yeah, I grew up with. I'll say that I grew up with a lot of game consoles. I did get more into Xbox later in my life, so I played a lot of Halo, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Destroy All Humans, Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Those were big games to me. Then I got into Gears of War. Gears of War was a game that I was really good at. I wouldn't say I'm the best, of course, not even close, but it's a game I feel confident enough to say that I'm a good player in Gears. I prefer third-person shooters over first a lot of the times. I used to be good in Halo. I think when I was younger, I was really confident in my playing, and I'm not so much nowadays, unless it's a game I know well enough. So, like Dead Space. Dead Space I know really well, the first Dead Space. But if I were to play like Halo nowadays, I don't feel quite as confident. Maybe in the campaigns, but not so much in multiplayer. I used to be good at multiplayer. I remember one day I brought Halo over, and I can't remember who it was. I had 2 or 3 friends, and I was just like, hey, I've spent most of my life playing Halo since I was young. I want to challenge both of my friends to a 2v1. I was the 1, they were the 2. And I remember annihilating them. I actually played Splinter Cell with a friend of mine. I did this Conviction, and I forgot how to play that game, but somehow I absolutely wrecked my friend in that game. And I don't think I died once. Like, I mostly stood around in one area waiting for a lot of the enemies to come to me because it was a PvE, PvP kind of thing. So I would catch my friend off guard and beat the crap out of him, kill him, and then I would just kill and mark and execute all the enemies in the area and annihilate everything. my friend could like my friend could has his word on that too. He could tell you about that time. But yeah, I'm good at Splinter Cell too. I would love to speed run just because I saw Critical Nobody's video. I'm like, maybe it would be great if I decided to throw my hat into the speedrunning stuff. I would have to practice, of course, because I don't practice speedrunning stuff with Splinter Cell. I mostly do the stealth options. Sometimes I'll try to do other options, but I mostly get into stealth nowadays and perfecting my scores, my percentage or whatever, and doing whatever side objectives I can. But yeah, and I kind of just play Splinter Cell for fun. Chaos Theory was a game I played a lot of. I played that way too much back in the day. It was my #1 game for the longest time until Mass Effect came into my life. Mass Effect 3 in particular, because I haven't played Mass Effect until 3 because I wasn't interested in giving Mass Effect a try yet. I was kind of dumb when it came to video games, but later in life I grew to love a lot of games. I actually had somebody who was kind of my teacher of the Dark Souls games who taught me how to play and stuff. We played a lot of co-op. Sadly, I'm not friends with that person anymore. They were kind of a dickhead a lot lately. I remember one of the last things they said, because I had a friend who was dealing with, his girlfriend had cancer at the time, and I was like, this person's going through a lot. It would be best if you didn't be rude to them or anything. And they just straight up said, I don't give a crap about nobody's feelings, so F off, all that nonsense. I showed my grandmother the message. She was like, yeah, you don't want to be friends with that person. That person is very nasty and not a good influence in your life, so I separated them from my life. I try to make judgment I try to make judgment calls on my own merits as well, if somebody goes overboard. Though I do commune with my friends that I know really well and I have seen in person. A lot of the time. But yeah, like, there's a lot of things that, a lot of friends that became dickheads, after a while. Like, I made a lot of Xbox friends and then lost those friends as soon as they became a bunch of dickheads. Yeah, they just caused a lot of trouble and, for people, other friends of mine. I haven't seen my friend Trucking Magnet. I can't remember what his YouTube channel. I did remove him from friends, but not because I wasn't friends or I didn't like him or anything. It was mostly just because, like, he was not communicating with me. Every time I invited him to play a game, he just would join and then leave. Like, I don't know what was going on with him, whether he was going through some tough times, which I wouldn't doubt. And, yeah, I just hope the best for him. Yeah, it's just a lot of things happened during the 360 and early Xbox One era of games. But yeah, like, those are a lot of them. I love Clint Eastwood movies. I want to say that. I was just looking in front of me is a copy of Any Which Way But Loose, I think. Yeah. And I love his Western movies. His Western movies are the only ones I can stand. I'm not a big John Wayne fan. There's a lot of animated movies, Disney and such. I think the only movie that makes me cry is Fox and the Hound. Like, when it gets to that scene where she has to bring Todd out to the wilderness and she's singing her little song, going back in her memories and stuff on the good times, on the sad times. Like, that feels so personal to me, as well as that character kind of looks like my grandmother, not gonna lie. She looks almost exactly like my grandmother, hairstyle and all, pretty much. It's just crazy. It's like my grandmother come to life in a movie. She doesn't sound like my grandmother, though, but she probably has the attitude of my grandmother when my grandmother could. Though my grandmother was very peaceful too. She wanted to bring peace, and she did not. She was hard to anger. She would always try to keep a peaceful mind. You could tell when she was stressed, though, because she would keep her head down and she would try to block things out or just go, yep, Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah. Because she just didn't want to have any of that. She would just kind of listen, but not get involved in the stressful stuff. I remember there were a lot of situations back in the day that my mother and uncle caused. I know my grandmother wasn't the best back in the day when she was a mother, being a mother, but that does not mean that you hold a grudge or that you use things later in life to attack that person. And my uncles and mom would hold a grudge and use certain things to attack her and stuff. And it's like, you shouldn't be using stuff from the past. You know you're supposed to drop that stuff. You know you're supposed to be a better person in general. If you're not, then you're just being a dickhead. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are going wrong with my mom and how she's treating the family. A lot of psychological, verbal abuse, sadly. A lot of it, I think, is also causing physical abuse within the family, sadly. But there's not much I can do. You can't do much when it's verbal, or you'd have to catch recordings of the people doing it in those moments. Because when it's physical abuse, then you have like DNA and stuff of that person on you from beating you, as well as the bruises and stuff. It's way more easy to prove that stuff than psychological and stuff. I got in a dark place with this video fast. But yeah, I had a lot of messed up things. I still think some of those things are going on because I think my uncle was down here months ago and I overheard some of the stuff going on with my family, and it sounds like they have not gotten any better. It's actually sounds like it's gotten worse. The point that the stepfather is in the family is threatening to do physical abuse but hasn't yet. He's a very pathological liar. He's a very selfish dickhead in the family, and my mom is sadly just like him, which is sad. Though my mom back in the day is not someone you wanted to mess with. I always thought of her as a female version of Clint Eastwood. She would scare people bad because people knew not to get on her bad side. I remember she came after one of my fathers. She had dated a lot of guys she shouldn't have, but she came after one of my fathers with a knife. My grandmother was like, "Don't do it. He's not worth it." My mom is also is just tough in general. She scared off my uncle. My uncle, I remember one day he brought over groceries I'll check your messages in just a sec, hold on. Brought over groceries for for the family, and like, I don't know what the argument was, but they got into an argument, and then my uncle took one of the bags of groceries, hit my mom across the head with it. He ran out the door so quick and on his bike and out of there, like Sonic the Hedgehog, to get away from her because she was chasing him out of the doorway, ready to beat the crap out of him. But yeah, nowadays it's like, I just don't know what to do in the scenarios I have. So there's not much I can do. One of the last things my grandmother said was to stay with my family and watch over my sister and brother. But I don't know what I would have said. Like, I feel like I did the opposite of what she said because I didn't know what to do. I see what you... Hi, I just got here. I'm sorry to hear that your family is getting abused. That's scary. Jesus. I didn't know what to do in that scenario then. This is like, I'm sorry that you joined at a convenient time. Like, I was talking about different things earlier in the video. Like Ray Harryhausen. I'm a big fan of Ray Harryhausen and Evil Dead and all of these. I love watching fantasy movies, Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, all sorts of stuff, and now I'm talking about this. I just want to quickly say that when my grandmother said that, I chose the opposite, because, like, I felt like the detriment of my mental health was at risk. I feel like I would have been in a straitjacket or crazy or something in no time if I decided to stay with my family, and I'm hoping my brother and sister are doing well. I don't have contact with them anymore because when I was moving and stuff, my mom didn't want anything to do with me. She disconnected her phone number and everything and changed things, and I had almost no way of interacting with anybody. So, and nobody interacted with me. So, yeah, and like I have problems with my uncles, even though I'm sure my uncles want to be better, different people. And I understand that you want, once again, from the thing I was saying previously, you want to throw things in the past, you want to leave stuff in the past. I have problems with that myself sometimes. There's no doubt about it. But, like, after some of the stuff I experienced with my uncle, it's more of a look, I forgive you, but I don't want to interact with you because I don't want that stuff to start all over again. I don't want that kind of life again. I want to clean up my life. I already have enough trouble as it is. Um I don't need that stuff in my life anymore. Please go away. Respectfully, that is. I want to respectfully have a distance between us because just a lot of the things I went through, there was a lot of different things I haven't even mentioned that I don't want to mention, honestly. Yeah, like, and my uncle, one of my uncles at least, will actually get physically abusive. So has anger trouble from last I knew, at least when I lived with him and such, and even before then. He had anger issues like crazy, and he would actually punch holes in walls, or he'd threaten to hurt somebody. I don't know if he actually, other than my mother, if he actually did. I remember one time, and I think I was there too, where him and my other uncle were not getting along, and he just walks up to him and whispers pretty loudly because he has a big booming Darth Vader voice, James Earl Jones voice, so it's hard not to freaking hear him. Where I heard him just say, "You want to take this outside?" My uncle, even though he believes in flat Earth crap, and he tried to push a lot of his beliefs onto me and my grandmother, we resisted a lot of the time. Um, he's at least not violent, and he's at least someone who will not give in to stupid things like that. So he was smart in not giving in to what my other uncle was doing, trying to push and manipulate and such. He was trying to purposely make my other uncle angry and want to do that. But yeah, no. There, my family like was in. My grandmother was the only thing holding, and only person. I shouldn't say thing. She's the thing from the movie John Carpenter. No, holding together the family. And after she passed away, the family just tore its friggin' self apart. And yeah, I never got stuff from my grandmother's will, by the way, because my uncle ran off with the will, probably destroyed it even, as well as whatever money she had for us. So I was supposed to originally live in her house, though I don't know how I would manage that in my position at the time. But yeah, like, it was crazy. It was really crazy, the things that happened when my grandmother passed away. Like, the household went to absolute freaking chaos. And I was moving around a lot. I went to live with my uncle for a couple months. It was insane living with my uncle. I do not want to do that ever again. I lived with my mom again, which was a bad idea. I secluded myself a lot. Like, I put myself in a room. I kind of still do that now just because, like, I have communication issues with some people. Some from times. I don't want to go into more detail on that, but yeah, I have a lot of stuff. I get depressed from time to time. It sucks, and it's not as bad as it used to be. But yeah, I try to make it by as best as I can. I'm hoping one day in the future I will probably get a place of my own, whether it's an apartment or whatever, work my way up. Right now I have a roommate situation. But yeah, I want to fix my life up a bit. I'm trying to get back into things. I'm hoping that I can get a PC eventually and record stuff with my Elgato, or maybe a new Elgato. I'll get a latest version of an Elgato maybe. Because I have the HD60 right now, and I think I need to upgrade. And I don't know if it's that the HD60 is doing well. I want to record more Nintendo stuff as well, because I love Nintendo. Nintendo is one of my favorite game companies, other than when they make bad decisions, like the Pokemon company sometimes does. But, yeah, there's a lot of things I got into. I read a lot of books, of course. I'm doing a lot of books for the channel I want to read. I actually have a bunch of them here. Mangas. I've been reading mangas as well. More recent. God, I have Stephen King's It right here. Jeez. That is a big-ass book. Oh, my freaking live chat went away. It's nice to see you again, by the way, Cap Miner. A long time no see. I'm sorry that I haven't seen you, and this is what you come back to see me talk about. I just want to talk about a few things about me, whether it's stuff you didn't know or whatever. It was just a funny situation that you happened to come while I'm talking about depressing ass stuff. So let's get into some happier stuff. So I was talking about earlier, I talked about Ray Harryhausen. I'm a big fan of Clash of the Titans and a lot of his films. One of his films, is it 10,000 Fathoms? I can't remember. Influenced Godzilla. I'm a big fan of Godzilla as well. Gigan's one of my favorite monsters he fights. I got into Ultraman thanks to my friend. My friend's a big fan of Ultraman. I played a lot of Nintendo and stuff. I'm a giant fan of Zelda. I'm a giant fan of... I love Mario, and I think Metroid's my second favorite series, but Nintendo has kind of swept them under the rug from time to time. Just recently they brought out Metroid Dread and the Prime remaster and stuff, or remake or whatever. I have to get that, speaking of which. I got into Fortnite later in life, too. I do not like trendy games. Trendy games piss me off, and games that are way too popular, unless it's Skyrim. Skyrim I really love. I love the Elder Scrolls game. Morrowind was one of my favorites for the longest time. I love Skyrim more now just because of what I was able to build off of it, and all the experimentation and experiences I've had with the game have become great memories with me. I also wanted to make a video recently because I see a lot of people talking like crap about nostalgia being a bad thing. It's like, I mean, nostalgia can be used as a bad thing and sometimes, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. It is like a way of looking into the past and just reliving great memories and stuff with such. So I don't think it's entirely a bad thing, and I don't think nostalgia always takes over your bias of things. Like, take one of my favorite YouTubers, for example, Critical Nobody. He even brings out examples of like, biases when it comes to nostalgia. And he uses some good examples of why he doesn't think nostalgia is why he thinks the way he thinks about games. Because he has a lot more, as long as you have a lot of other examples and stuff to bring out and talk about a game, and why you think it may be better or worse than something else in which you're comparing it to, then yeah, I think you have that right and you have a good standing there. I think it's when you're just using the bias of nostalgia that it may be a problem. So I just found that annoying more lately. I saw a lot of videos as I was going through my videos in general, my recommendations and stuff, where people were saying all sorts of things like, nostalgia's bad, it's evil, and it's like it's almost the exact same titles of their videos too, and it's like, shut the frick up. It's only evil or bad if you use it in such a way like I just described. Or not necessarily evil, but I wouldn't doubt it if somebody used it in an evil, malicious way. I don't know. Well, once again, there's bound. I like to use the saying, "There's bound to be this or that," for just about anything, and you can use that as an example for anything. Um, yeah. I was talking earlier too that there's a bunch of anime I've been trying to get into again. I grew out of anime in my earlier days. Like I watched Full Metal Alchemist, I still love that, and Brotherhood. I love um, anything Gundam. I watched Dragon Ball Z, uh, Inuyasha. I don't know if Pokemon and Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh and all that count. I'm not sure about that. But I dropped out of a lot of those things because it was just not a time period for me. And, like, I just kind of grown out of anime and now I'm getting back into it. I just finished a ton of, like, first seasons of different animes. Um, yeah, I don't know what I would say about people. You said I don't know what people who say it's bad are. Yeah, nostalgia is fine. Yeah. I think what I said is like I would have to go in more detail on its own separate video, but like as well as I'd need to find those videos again because I just remember I stumbled upon them and I was like, what the hell is all this? What is this? Why is this such a big deal? And I just remember other YouTubers using nostalgia in their latest videos in a negative light, and it's like, shut the frick up. Like, what the hell is this stuff? Um, but yeah, Mischief was actually one of them recently, though I think he had some good enough examples. I do think there were some things I didn't entirely agree with, but that's just me. But yeah, like once again, it was also brought up, and I think a lot of it came up because of Resident Evil 4 remake. And I was like, I'm going to do my review on Resident Evil 4. I do think Resident Evil 4 is probably the best of the remakes, but there's still problems. And it was funny when I saw Critical Nobody. I love Critical Nobody. Video on Resident Evil 4, and he has a lot of good examples. He actually had a lot of the same complaints that I had when I was playing Resident Evil 4. Like the whole darkness thing. Like, this game's freaking dark. Every time I complained, he talked about how the character was in control of it was scripted in control of your flashlight, but the only person who should be in control of the flashlight is you, the player. And I agree with that. Now I'm like, oh yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, that was pretty stupid that I had no control over that. Even Dead Space, I think even the remake of Dead Space had control over your flashlight because it was at the end of your freaking gun and all you had to do is aim down the sights and point it in a certain direction. I mean, you had other things where you had to turn off the lights just to reroute the power to something else, but that was used intentionally to scare the frick out of you, scare the piss out of you. And I kind of liked that better than what Resident Evil 4 did. Resident Evil 4 needed to give you more control over your flashlight. There were a couple other things. He also thought that Resident Evil 4 was the best of the remakes, and it was close to being perfect, but not fair enough. I thought it was Critical Drinker. No, I've watched Critical Drinker from time to time. I don't watch him always, but no. Critical Nobody's a different YouTuber. He's kind of become a Splinter Cell YouTuber because a lot of people know him for his Splinter Cell videos now. But he absolutely loves Resident Evil as well, and he's done a lot of videos on the Resident Evil remakes. And he has some really good points and perspectives on the games because most of his discussions are he still loves the remakes of the Resident Evils. He just thinks there's a lot of things they don't do better than the older Resident Evil games, like Resident Evil 2 versus Resident Evil 2 Remake, or the Resident Evil 4 Remake versus the original Resident Evil 4. I think another thing I would add is I feel like Resident Evil is losing its identity a little bit, because it just kind of feel like we have so many third-person shooters nowadays that play typically the similar to one another or the same as one another that they kind of all blend in now. Other than, like, oh, this one's supposed to be considered a horror game and they got different characters, blah, blah, blah. But, like, nowadays, other than taking cover in certain third-person shooters, could you tell the difference between something like Gears of War, and Mass Effect and Resident Evil when it comes to the gameplay perspective, other than, like, the setting of the games? Like, the setting is obvious, but when it comes to the gameplay, is that as obvious? I have played Outlast. I have not completed it, but I've watched other people complete it. I don't know. I can't remember. I guess I just have times where I just don't have the time to play Outlast, or, like, my interests sway towards other games at the time. I don't know. I can still play Outlast, though I don't know if I can record it for YouTube, only because I think the only version of Outlast I own is on Xbox, sadly. Yeah, a lot of third-person shooters and survival horrors blend in a lot. I think RE7 is a more unique take for the Resident Evil series. Yeah, I'm planning on replaying Resident Evil 7 and Village. But yeah, like, I love the first person. I hated people complaining about the first person thing. I think there's just way too many third person now Resident Evils. Like, you got almost the entire... I do like the perspective. Third person is one of my favorite ways to play a video game. I love third person, like I do with Bloodborne here. Sorry that I'm standing here a lot, but I don't have enough health vials to take on the boss. Speaking of which, I should probably find a lantern. My controller disconnected again. Let me just check that my mic is working. Okay, it is. Hopefully it's not too loud. I should probably turn it down, actually. It sounds like it's too loud. There we go. Hopefully that's fine, just the mic here. And I'm sorry if it is too loud. I was testing it earlier. I didn't know what to do with it because I heard, like, a buzzing sound in the background, and it was hard to get rid of that. I'm getting a new mic next month anyways, or a headset in general, so yeah. Well, hopefully that'll be much better than what I got. I will say that I think this is a Razer, whatever the frick that company is called. Razorwire, I don't know what they're called. Or just Razer, headset. I tried a Turtle Beach once. It was not in good condition for some reason. Yeah, I didn't really trust Turtle Beach after that. Or at least the suppliers who delivered Turtle Beach to me. The Turtle Beach headset. But, yeah, like, I'm working towards a PC. I know the PlayStation just had its thing. I should probably talk about that sometime in another video, but, yeah. It's not swaying me to get a PS5, though, and I know most of those games are probably going to either come to the other consoles or the PC as well. All that's swaying me to a PlayStation, and they're not even big deals right now, is Demon's Souls Remake, the newest Ratchet & Clank game, and... I wouldn't even... Yeah, that's it. I don't know if Metal Gear Solid 3 and Silent Hill 2 are just specifically going to be PlayStation only. If they are, maybe. But if they aren't, not only can it wait, but I can just get them for other platforms like PC. So it would be better if I worked towards a PC. I could record a lot better. I would have a better headset, I'm sure, at that time. Better audio. I'm just in a crappy place with my stuff. Like, my YouTube channel is a history of, like, just, like how the quality of how things have gone in my life with my devices and stuff is just a demonstration, because I had to always find different ways to record or get around a lot of the obstacles that are going on with my devices or just in life in general. So it's kind of, my entire history of my channel is kind of a example of that in a way. And it sucks. But yeah. I hope to get around that, a lot of that stuff. When I get a new PC, my friend's gonna be recommending some PCs. He knows he's very good with computers. He will help me out in that department. Yeah, I'm hoping that I get a good gaming PC. I told him gaming PC as well, because I want a good gaming PC. And I'll be looking for that next time. I'm saving up for that. I actually just heard, too, that I have quite a bit of money saved up in my account, so that's gonna be great. But I still have to combine money with that in order to get what I want. Because, yeah. I still wouldn't have enough, even with the amount that's in my account. So, hopefully I can get that. Same like me and my storage in my laptop. I'm probably going to aim mostly for a gaming laptop, just because it would be a lot easier and I could move it around with me, bring it to a friend's house, and play games there. That would be a lot easier than having a big chunky PC, but maybe I would go for that in the future. The gaming laptop is going to be my first thing I go into, and then like maybe PC eventually and stuff. So yeah, that would be so great for my channel, would help out a lot. And yeah, I can't wait for that. I gotta read. I was just looking. My friend said he picked up a copy of Dune, and he's going to be reading the new Dune book. And I just looked here. I have Dune right here, and ready to read for the channel. This is a freaking chunky ass book. Jeez. I got a lot of books I gotta read for the channel, but I can't wait to do that. And I want to focus on my read-alongs too, because my read-along, I have a video called Read-along of Dragons of Deltora, Dragon's Nest by Emily Rada, and it's my highest viewed video. A lot of my Dragons of Deltora books are my highest viewed videos. Right now, I think that video has, I haven't checked it recently, but last I checked it was probably a year or two ago. It had 1,500 views, and I was like, that's crazy for my. That was like one of my first videos that I made using. That was a goofy video. But I think it's a good video. It's not bad. It's like another thing you can tell about my YouTube channel over the years is how I am as a person. Because I feel like when I started the channel, I was a lot more goofy, upbeat, and ridiculous. I had a lot more energy in me than I do now. Nowadays, I got a lot less energy. I think when I came back to YouTube after having suffered the loss of my grandmother passing, I was just a depressed freaking mess. Anyway, what are we doing? Buying, okay. I can only buy 5? Frick. Is there anything I can... Oh, I have blood echoes. We're not doing too well on Bloodborne replaying it, honestly. I mean, I am doing well, but also at the same time I'm not doing well because Blood Vials is my problem. That is the part where I am failing majorly. I lost a ton of my... I still have the trophies, at least. I still have the trophy proving that I platinumed this game. So at least that saved... My friend said I should complain about the problem, but I don't know if I should. But he said I should complain about the save system transfer stuff that PlayStation does, because PlayStation does it more manually, where... like Xbox and such use a cloud save and such, or you're able to transfer it in a way that it's a lot easier, a lot more convenient to the player. And PlayStation just does not have that down, right? They screwed up, from what my friend was telling me. So, while I do think it is admittedly my fault for making a dumb choice and not deciding to download the stuff or to transfer the save stuff from one console to the other, uh, my friend says it's still something you probably wouldn't have assumed or guessed off the bat even if you've played PlayStation for so long, because it's not something you do very often anyways. And he's suggesting it's more PlayStation's fault than it is mine. But I still think I have a fault in it just because I didn't make the choice and I probably should have known, but he's saying, how could I have known? So, yeah. Dumb PlayStation. Yeah, I hate that. I'm up and about. I don't care about console wars and stuff. But yeah, PlayStation's been pissing me off with a lot of their decision making lately. And a lot of their games blend into. They all have the same Uncharted goddamn style of game. God of War is Uncharted. Horizon Zero Dawn is Uncharted. Blah blah blah. Everything's gotta be Uncharted. It's gotta have a big story campaign and be dramatic. It's a movie video game. You barely get to play. It takes control from the player a lot. Why can't we have games like From Software and Nintendo games where it's actually legitimately a video game and you can play and interact with it and crap? Even Resident Evil is kind of becoming that, where it's like, yeah, there's a lot more gameplay than what you get, but it kind of feels like it's Last of Us, or whatever. And then it doesn't help that there's a lot of games that are trying to be Resident Evil, like Evil Within and stuff, and it's like, god damn, Resident Evil is just blending in with all these other games more and more. It sucks because I love freaking Resident Evil. I didn't originally love Resident Evil, but I got into Resident Evil after 5. 5 was freaking ridiculous. Once I realized Resident Evil was trying to be like schlocky B-action movie stuff, which is not what it's purposed to be originally, but I loved that. I loved that, like, Albert Wesker was the Matrix in the 5th game. And then you got, like, I prefer if games were games. Yeah, nowadays I'm just confused on what to do. Yeah, but I just want more games to play like a video game, please. Have some more video game like a FromSoft or a Nintendo game. They don't have to be a FromSoft in a Nintendo game. I'm looking at you, Lords of the Fallen, and all those other games trying to be a Souls-like. Which is not a bad thing because I'm a sucker for those games, but goddamn, why are there so many of them? FromSoft does it the best, though, because after Elden Ring, it's like, hands down, FromSoft are the kings. I can't wait for Armored Core. But, and they are focused more on art style, which I agree with art style being king over graphical fidelity. Like, trying to make your game look super realistic or anything like that, like what a lot of PlayStation exclusives like Last of Us and such try to do, where they try to make the game look more realistic, or God of War. It's like, okay, that's cool looking and all, but you're taking a lot of control away from the player, making your game practically a movie. And I'm just not having as much fun with it, and if your games are going to focus on the stories and characters, you better hope that the goddamn stories and characters of those games are interesting enough for me to want to play. Take Red Dead Redemption 2, for example. I think the story in that is awesome, but I'm sure people would be pissed at some of the other stuff with the freaking gameplay and such. I actually do like playing it from time to time in the gameplay department of things, because that game does give you a really immersive open world, and I love the interaction with your horse. Your horse actually feels like a horse, a genuine horse, another being, and not just another freaking thing that, like, hey, I'm your ride everywhere. Just like a Ubisoft open world game, I'm your ride everywhere. I'm not living, I'm just kinda there. You put a skin on me, there you go. Slap a skin on me, no, you get to interact with your horse, you pet him, you clean him, he craps. uh, you get to feed him and all sorts of stuff. If he gets angry or tired out, like he'll sometimes boot you off of him, or maybe he'll kick you in the face with his hooves and you'll die instantly. But I love that stuff, and I feel like even Zelda kind of like the actually yeah, Zelda's a good game because you can feed most of the animals in Zelda too. Like you can't pet the dogs, which I remember Angry Joe was being kind of silly with that. I loved his joke where he's like, "No, you can't pet the dog still, 0 out of 10." You can feed them though. And the dogs are still interactive. They still find stuff for you. They will follow you. They will have the little pink heart symbols around their head if they're showing love towards you. Or the same with the horses. You can feed them. You can pet them. Soothe them. Whatever. It's pretty cool that even Zelda has interactive horses. Zelda, Red Dead, kind of, and Elden Ring are on the right road of how to do a open world game. There's still tedious stuff in each of those, but they do things in a way that I feel like immerses or is more fun for the players to interact with and has more game to them. Maybe Red Dead not as much, but once you get past the campaign stuff, it's like the world is yours. Do whatever the frick you want. This world is interactive. I actually wanted to do I used to do survival series with Zelda. I had 5 videos, and I was like, I want to do that with Red Dead because that could easily be a great thing to do with Red Dead, where I just put myself, like, I do not Bear Grylls, I would say Survivor Man. That's another thing I'd love. I love Survivor Man, Les Stroud over Bear Grylls. I joke more about Bear Grylls, like his "I need water" thing from his video game, or drinking his own piss. But like I love Les Stroud's Survivor Man series, and I want to do something with that on video games, where I just find a random wild location in the wilderness of some sort, and I just gather supplies and try to survive, hunt food and stuff, build a campfire, cook food or meals, whatever. Do something like that with fricking Red Dead as well. And what was the other game? It was Red Dead. I was thinking of doing that with Witcher, but Witcher doesn't work in that way. Witcher also has kind of like a horse that's just like it's Roach, and like the horse is kind of a character in the series, but he's still just kind of like a Ubisoft horse, where it's like, I'm just kind of here for you to get from one place to another. And most of the time you're probably going to forget I'm there and go on foot. I'm not a very interactive horse. But yeah, I still think Witcher is great. I do think Witcher 3 is not the best thing, but I do think it's good. I have the books. I'm going to be reading those for the channel. Oh man, I would love to diss on the people making the Witcher show, because they are being a bunch of scumbags towards Henry Cavill and the lore of The Witcher. I know that the guy who wrote the Witcher books is a huge asshole, but goddamn, those books are good though, and they are way better writing and lore and character development and such than what the show was doing. So they can piss off. And trying to replace Henry with Liam Hemsworth is like, piss off. Yeah, that's very disrespectful, and one of the things I hate about Hollywood nowadays, they're not respecting a lot of the original source material. They're just like, oh, we can do it better. It's kind of like Hollywood, a lot of big companies within Hollywood and such, and Hollywood themselves or whatever, feel very much like the thing I complain about with Zack Snyder's way of filming movies, where his movies and the direction he takes his movies feel very selfish, very narcissistic, and full of themselves. Where it's like, oh, we're so much better than the original creators of the fiction or work or whatever the hell. And they're all trying to be fancy when they give us crap like Rings of Power or Velma or Ghostbusters 2016, and they're like, we can do it better. Oh, it's like, shut the frick up. That stuff was garbage. This is shit. But yeah, like, I freaking hate, like, that's another thing you wouldn't guess of me. I hate that stuff. I hate anything that feels like it is trying to think of itself higher than the original source material or whatever. And I felt that same thing with Rings of Power. It's like, we can do Lord of the Rings stuff better. YouTube is removing stories. Stories? You might have to go into a little bit more detail on that. Removing stories. Interesting. Yeah, YouTube's pretty stupid too. I hate YouTube from time to time. They're fricking, like, removing the dislikes. I mean, it's still there technically, but you have to find another... You can't see it unless you jump through a few hoops to see it. And yeah, YouTube's been making some dumb decisions as well. Netflix recently has made some dumb decisions. Yeah, I just don't like any big company in general. It just pisses me off and does some really stupid crap from time to time. Now I have enough files to take on, though I would probably have to farm more. I hate, like, this was the one problem I had back in the day with Bloodborne, was I had to farm frickin' blood files like crazy, and I hated that. Also, yeah, stuff that tries to push itself higher than it's worth is just annoying. Yeah, I hate when stuff is so full of itself. Once again, like, I can't stand stuff like that. I have a hard time watching stuff. There's some stuff that's trying to be artistic that I'd like, okay, it's artistic. Can you separate the art from the artist? Like, maybe that's pretty cool. But there are times where it's like, it's Zack Snyder, and it's got that Zack Snyder feel to it, where it's like, not exactly like slow-mo and stuff, but like, if you feel that the creator or creators behind it, whether... here's another thing, I'll do this later, but like, you feel like they think of themselves higher than the original source material when they should, if they want to adapt something differently. And I want to say, even, I hate whenever somebody makes an argument if it's not fought right or said right, where they say, oh, you don't like it because it's new or it's different. No, that has no problem. Change doesn't always equal good, though. You have to know when change is good. Like, take, for example, I love some of the Resident Evil remakes. I do think those are really good. Some of them don't get everything right, but they're still really good. Disney remakes, on the other hand, are garbage. The Little Mermaid was almost close, but still missed the bar and had a lot of the same complaints I had for all the other Disney remakes, honestly. Change isn't always mean that something is good. You shouldn't automatically assume that somebody hates it just because it's new or it's different or something. You have to have, once again, good arguments and good standpoints and just points in general on why you think it is not good compared to the previous thing, maybe. And there's a lot of examples you could use in that. I almost forgot what I was going to say earlier. I said I was going to hold it off for later, and I think I forgot it. I have a bad memory in general. But yeah, like, I always get sort of, let's kind of run for... I'm sorry, I'm down in thought, like I'm not playing the game much. I should be able to play and talk, but it is honestly hard for me to do that sometimes. Like, if I'm just casually talking and not putting much thought, or like I'm joking around, I can do that. But if it's like something I'm deep in thought with, then I have a hard time trying to play and talk at the same time. So, yeah. It is like, you have to have quite the multitasking state of mind for something like that. And I'm not that kind of person. Haha, you killed your own dudes. How do you feel about that? Okay, I dodged that, but fine. Come on, bring it. Dumbass. Asshole. But, also, I'm trying to, oh, hold on, I gotta get messages up. I don't know if I saw your last message or two. There's some assholes around the corner I hate dealing with here. Agreed. My mom changes stuff when it's not necessary sometimes. Yeah. Man, I'm looking forward to that Dune movie. I was just looking at the Dune book again in front of me. I'm glad they're doing it. Like, the Dune movies have kind of felt like the Lord of the Rings of our time. Like, when you got the Lord of the Rings movies, like, oh, those are goddamn awesome. It's gonna be such a big deal. And now the Dune movies kind of feel like that. It's like, oh, frick, yeah. Finally. Somebody's doing Dune right. Whatever the frick David Lynch did. David Lynch is weird anyways. He's a good director, though. I love how ridiculous this stuff gets. Like, David Lynch has really helped to bring out some ridiculous-ass games and stuff. Like, I feel like a lot of his movies influenced Silent Hill in a way. Like, is he the Eraserhead? I think he's the director of Eraserhead. Yeah, that movie was freaking weird, bro. I was like, I saw that on HBO, or what is called Max now, and I was like, hey, you wanna watch this? And my friend was like, nope. Like, that movie's weird. I don't want it. Got my friend to watch No Country for Old Men recently. I love that frickin' movie. Those are my favorite type of movies, those darker, more realistic movies. I love Christopher Nolan movies. I love movies like No Country for Old Men. Frickin' love those. Can't get enough of them. But I love 80s movies too. I can't get enough of like Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, or just a good 80s fantasy movie like a Jim Henson Labyrinth or Dark Crystal. I just can't get enough. Matter of fact, I feel like watching one right now. We're having, actually, our movie theater is local to us, is doing some free movies, and one of them is Neverending Story, and I'm like, oh, I want to see that in theaters. I love Neverending Story, and I'm gonna go see that for free. That'll be freaking awesome. They're having the animated TMNT movie. I love TMNT. Can't wait to see that. I own both of those movies, but I want to see them on the big screen. And then, what else are they having? I think Lego Batman's gonna be there. I'd have to look up the list on my phone here, what the movies are coming. Those are the ones I can name. They're having a bunch of Studio Ghibli, but those aren't free. By the way, have you seen the Silent Hill Ascension trailer? I think I have seen that. I don't remember which one it is, though. I'd have to rewatch it again, but I did watch the entire press thing. And if there is a new trailer on that, then I probably haven't seen that, but I've seen the older trailer when they did their press conference thing, or whatever the equivalent you would call that showing of Silent Hill stuff. But yeah, I saw a lot of stuff. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm hesitant still because I don't know how that company is going to approach that stuff. But I am cautiously optimistic. Cautiously. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they have. I can't wait for the Silent Hill movie. It's by the guy who's made the first Silent Hill movie, and I love that movie. I actually watched that recently because it's free on Tubi. Tubi is freaking awesome for some movies right now. Though they also have a lot of Shocky B movies too. Some of them are good, like Thanksgiving is freaking stupid as hell. But, like, I know a lot of people love that frickin' movie. There's also Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I think they have Attack of the Killer Tomatoes on there, too. Frickin' awesome right now for movies on there. They got some Clint Eastwood movies on there, old westerns of his. But yeah, right now is a good time for... They have the Green Knight. I forgot the Green Knight just came on there. I love the Green Knight movie. If I ever directed or wrote my own movie, I want it to be similar to how the Green Knight plays out, or like a Dark Souls movie, where like a lot of the storytelling is more in the environment rather than and the characters' expressions rather than the dialogue and stuff. But that's not to say I wouldn't have dialogue. I would love to make a movie like that. That would be freaking awesome. You know Thanksgiving? Yes, I do. Dude, I showed my friends Thanksgiving. I even recorded their reactions, and I made a reaction video for the Thanksgiving holiday for Halloween. Yes, Thanksgiving. I watched, too, where I learned about it was actually from a YouTuber I love watching called Brandon Tenold, who reviews a bunch of cult films. And that was one of the movies, and it's just a frickin' ridiculous movie. And it's on Tubi right now. I saw it and I was like, hey, maybe I should watch this with one of my friends. Though I don't know if my friends want. Honestly, even with like other movies, my friends have problems trying to watch stuff with me. Unless it's something they're interested in, they for some reason don't always have. So I try to find like ways that they'll watch something with me. Like I'll say, hey, why don't we watch half of this movie and save it for later, or if you don't like it, then we can watch it the other half later or whatever. Or you can make me sad for the rest of my life and disappointed. I learned that about it through this one channel called Dead Meat. Yeah, Dead Meat. I've watched from time to time. Do you know Birdemic? Oh God, I watched John Tron's video on Birdemic. What a freaking ridiculous movie! I remember the one joke he made on that movie where it's like, "What is this dude, Commander Shepard? What can you tell me about the Reapers?" And I love the dialogue options they had for the dude, where it's like, "Grab her tits," and like the other side of the wheel, it's like. It's like a bunch of perverted stuff. It's like, oh, Commander Shepard, you might not want to do this. It's freaking ridiculous. That movie is weird. Like in the middle of that movie, it starts to have like a heavy-handed like talking about I don't even remember entirely. It's like about the environment and like I guess global warming and stuff. It's like trying to have a heavy political message in the middle of the movie. Is like, where the hell did this come from? It's just thrown in there. It's kind of like watching a weird ass documentary all of a sudden. But it is kind of a ridiculous, like, it's kind of like The Room where it's so bad it's good kind of thing, where it's like you're gonna frickin' laugh at stupid parts of it. I will say parts of it are boring, like just watching them drive is like, oh, okay, we get to watch their daily life, like what people do in real life. Like I could do that right now. Let me show you. Let me film myself. No dialogue. I swear low-budget movies like those are insane, yet creative, except for Vertec. Yeah. Man, that movie's freaking stupid. Man, I love this game and its freaking art style. I can't stop but look around. Okay, that sky... Ah, whatever. I'll give it a pass because it's Bloodborne. Bloodborne is just such a good game. But Birdemic's freaking ridiculous movie. And let's take out these assholes. I'm gonna try to beat the boss, but I have a feeling I'm not going to. Actually, can I just walk past these guys? I can't remember if they have health files drop on them. I can probably just walk by them and take on the boss. See, can I see him in there? Oh, it's gonna... Wait, does it do the cutscene every time? Uh-oh. 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 Ooh. Oh, what happened? My weapon? What? I such a... There we go. Where is he? Okay, he's there. Already using... Get away from me! I don't have the music box on me. I just realized I should have got the music box. Frick you! Oh, frick your gun. You are frickin' asshole. See ya. I don't have the music box out. Wait, I thought I'd already got this item. Holy crap, he's fast. Oh. I thought I was going to have enough time. I am not as quite as fast as good players of this game. Oh, what the frick? Oh, that did some damage. That's not it. Where's the music box gone? What? I had the music box though. It's not there. Do I have to re-get it? What happened to it? Oh. Frick you.
What's that smell? Sweet blood. Oh, it sings to me. It's enough to make a man sick.
Look at all the fricking blood coming off of him. Frick you, asshole. Glad I could stagger him! Oh! Frick your... Oh, damn it. Oh, 12 vials. I think I can still do it. I hate his second form, though. I have a hard time with that frickin' form. Where the frick is the music box? Anyway, gotta go have fun. Thank you. God frickin' damn this asshole. I guess I have to get the music box again. Does it come from here? Nope, this is not it. Where is it? I swear I had it on my character. What? What? Where is it? Oh. Asshole. You have... What? Nope. Hold on, I gotta go back to the... Is it a different character? Also, nice chatting with you, by the way. It's always fun. Japan Studio. You want real video games, just play Japanese video games. Or video games by a Japanese studio. Because they actually focus on it being a video game. Instead of a movie like PlayStation. Though I think Sony was a Japanese company. I'm not entirely certain on that. Don't quote me on that. Let's see. Oh, this guy has it. Frick. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll stop here. I'll take this guy out on my own time or something. But I just wanted to make that quick video. Oh my gosh, the ponytail. Yeah, I thought it would be a fun video to make. I guess I haven't done the Cleric Beast with that guy then. And I will see you guys next time. I wonder whether there was in the cutscene. It was I haven't fought that boss with that character yet. Anyways, I will see you guys next time. I hope you enjoyed nonetheless. I'm sure there's plenty other things I could talk about. There's tons of TV shows I know, like I love Monk, for example. I haven't gotten to talk about Monk. Tons of Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, 4Kids, all sorts of stuff that I loved growing up with. Animated Batman, you name it. Frickin' loved. But I hope you guys enjoyed nonetheless, and I will see you guys next time. And there's a lot of stuff I'm trying to catch up